Hi, this is Dawn with Modern Dog Group, and today I am going to be interviewing Rupert Fawcett, the creator of the Off the Leash cartoons. Welcome, Rupert.
Hi, Dawn.
So, my first question is, did you have a particular dog that inspired these cartoons, or tell me about your childhood dog. Did you have a childhood dog that inspired these?
Yeah, we had childhood dogs, and which I really loved our dogs with a passion, and I always found them funny, amusing, full of character, and I guess that just always stayed with me into adulthood, and then not just talking about my own dogs, but other people's dogs. Whenever I was out and about, in the country or in the park or anywhere, and I saw dogs, I would always sort of look at the dogs and observe the dogs perhaps more than most people would. Always interested in their behaviour and amused by them and so on. And that interest has always been there.
Okay, so next question. You have a lot of your cartoons where there's multiple dogs. Do you live in a multiple dog household?
I don't know, and I have never lived in a multiple dog household. But what happened was, as soon as I started the Off the Leash Facebook page, people started sending me photographs in of themselves with their dogs, and you hear about people who sleep with their dogs sleeping on their beds. And so when I did my first cartoon about people with sort of 4 or 5 dogs on the beds, I got an unbelievable response. And people started sending in all these photographs of all the multiple dogs on their beds. And then I started getting people writing to me saying, "Oh, so we're not the only ones who do this. We're not the only crazy people in the world." And so that was really nice. A lot of people were kind of pleased to see that other people did that too.
Yeah, I definitely sleep with more than one, and I completely relate to the little cartoons where you've got just the edge of the bed to sleep on. I'm not even sure my dogs give me that.
It's a very popular topic. Whenever I do one, multiple dogs on beds or sofas or whatever, it's always very popular.
So, tell me about your dog now. What kind of dog do you have now?
No, believe it or not, at the moment I actually don't have a dog. I'm going through an unusual gap. We have 2 cats. We have 2 Burmese cats. But after my last dog passed away, I haven't replaced one simply because for the last 2 or 3 years I've been so incredibly busy, and my wife works and so on. So we just thought, hang on a minute, I'll be ready yet to be able to give a dog the time and the care that it requires. So at the moment we're actually having a little bit of a gap. But I really miss having a dog around, and I hope it won't be too long. We can, get another 1 or 2. There's still dogs in other members of my family have dogs, and so I still have kind of regular contact with dogs, which is great.
What kind of dog do you think you'd like to add to your life?
I don't know. I'll have to give some thought. Growing up, we had rescue dogs from a place called Battersea Dogs Home here in London, which is a rescue centre. At the moment, I don't know, we'll have to give that some thought. I love whippets, and greyhounds, and I have a brother-in-law who rescues greyhounds. He's usually got about half a dozen at a time. But I don't know, we'll have to think about that.
You love whippets. I have a sister-in-law that breeds whippets.
Oh, really?
Very sweet little dogs.
They are, they're very sweet and affectionate.
And have you had one before?
I had a whippet cross. I don't know what it was crossed with.
Yeah. I have one of those right now, actually.
Okay, right. Yeah, I had a rescue dog that was obviously had a lot of whippers in it.
So are there activities that you like to do with your dogs? When you have them, do you do any sports or training?
No, nothing like that. But I mean, as you know, one of the great things about having dogs is it gets you out. You have to get out every day, a couple of times a day, or at least for a good long walk each day. And so that's one of the things I like to do with my dog, is just to get out, We're on the River Thames here in London, and so that's a great place for walking dogs along the towpath beside the river. And it's just, I think, walking with a dog just adds so much pleasure to a walk. I go out and walk regularly, just on a daily basis. I go out for a walk, because I spend all day sitting at a desk drawing, so I need to get exercise. And I really miss walking with a dog because it adds so much to the walk. And that's what I like to do, and I like to get out into the country with my dogs. But I don't participate in any kind of sports or dog shows or anything like that.
So, I know that Off the Leash is not your first creation. You had a creation called Fred. Was there an inspiration to Fred? Was he an everyman, or was he someone you knew?
Fred was an everyman, really. He was just a kind of combination of several different people. And he actually, funny enough, he had a cat. And in every single Fred cartoon, I must have drawn about sort of 850 Fred cartoons. And in every single one, the black cat appears. And people often used to write to me just about the cat, and ask me why there's always a cat in the picture and so on. And I think it's because of the presence of animals is important to me, and it's an important part of my life. And whenever I drew a Fred cartoon, if I didn't put the cat in it, would look incomplete. But Fred was a kind of composite of a few different people, I think.
So Fred has a lot of greeting cards, and you have some books out with Fred. Are you going to go in the same direction with Off the Leash?
Well, that's already happened, which is great. I'm now on my third book, which I can show you here. This is my third Off the Leash book, which has just come out this month. And I have a range of greeting cards out, and diaries and mugs and various different things which are available in shops here in the UK. My first book also, this one here, was published in the US, Secret Life of Dogs. So it's beginning to spread into more and more different types of merchandise. And I'm now at the moment talking to a couple of different animation companies who are interested in animating Off the Leash. So, that would be a great thing to get into.
So your books are available in the United States. Is that the first one that was? Or?
Yeah, they're all available. All of my books are available on Amazon, but this particular one, the first one, was actually published in the States, in the publishing company based in New York. And most of my fan base is in America. Probably about 3/4 of my fan base is actually in the States.
So you got an upcoming animated program? Is it going to be a TV show or a movie, or?
I mean, early days, but I was approached by an animation company just a few weeks ago, and then I started meeting them and talking to them, and then just by sheer coincidence, last week I was approached by another animation company who also wanted to meet me to talk about animating Off the Leash. So, because I've got that kind of interest from two companies, it looks as though that's probably something that's going to happen, sooner or later. But I know these things, usually take quite a long time to get off the ground, so it's not going to happen tomorrow, but I think it will happen. And that would be great fun. I'd love to see Off the Leash animated.
Okay, so Off the Leash started kind of as a social media sensation, didn't it?
Yeah, it's the first thing that I've launched on Facebook. Previously, with other things I've had published, I've been in newspapers or books or whatever. But this is the first time I've actually launched something on social media, and it's worked out really well for me, and I enjoy it. I mean, I get a lot of pleasure out of the fact that it's so instant, it's so immediate. I can do a drawing, scan it, post it, and immediately my audience is seeing it and responding. And so I'm really enjoying that kind of immediacy.
I imagine that there are some that would be concerned about intellectual property. Have you ever had a problem with that?
I get quite a lot of people obviously reposting my work and sending it to friends and so on. I like that because obviously I want as many people to see them as possible. But I do also have had people using them on their own commercial websites and taking off my copyright line. And so what often happens is people who are Off the Leash fans see it and then alert me, tell me this is happening, send me the link, and then, which is great because then I'm able to write to these people and say, hey, look, I'm happy for you to publish my work, but you must keep in my copyright line and don't try and take credit for my work. And also another thing that's happening quite a lot is people are translating my cartoons into other languages, and I don't know what those translations are like. I don't know if they're accurate. I don't know if they're putting in completely their own meanings or whatever. So obviously I'm not happy about that. So whenever I discover it, I write to these people and ask them to take them down, or at least to give me the credit.
Absolutely. Have you considered publishing your work in other languages?
Yes, I'm already published in a few languages. Yeah, I'm already published in about 7 or 8 different languages.
Okay, so they can get it, they just need to find it.
They can get it. Some people can get it, but there are some languages that still it hasn't been published in some countries. But but I mean this happens a lot on social media, doesn't it? People steal other people's work. That's right. That's one of the great things about social media is your work spreads all over the world, and that's happened obviously with Off the Leash. And so you get the interest of overseas publishers.
Well, Off the Leash, I think, probably hit us a little later than it did Jason's. Well, I think formerly from your area. So he knows a lot more about you than somebody like me who's over here. We see the cartoons. We love the cartoons. How long have you been drawing? When did you start? When did you know you were going to be an artist?
I've been drawing all my life. Since I was a small child, I loved drawing, and I used to draw cartoons as a child. And I used to spend a lot of time in my own I'd go into my own imaginative world, my own fantasy world, and I would draw for long periods of time. Later on, when I was at school, I wanted to go to art school. I saw myself as a serious painter. And so I went to art school for a while, but actually I realized then that didn't suit me, and I was much happier drawing. And so yeah, I've been drawing all my life, but I've had long periods of time, sometimes years at a time, when I haven't been doing any drawing. I've been done other things. But I've always got back to it, and I always miss it when I don't do it. But now I've consistently been a cartoonist for quite a long time, for about 27, 28 years now, so I've been drawing every day now for nearly 30 years. And I consider myself very lucky because I spend every day doing something that I really enjoy.
How long does it take you to come up with an idea for one of your cartoons? Is it something that you see something in your environment and you just immediately know it's a cartoon? Or is there some work involved?
Both happen. Sometimes it can be an instant moment. I see something or hear something, and I think, "Yep, that's a cartoon." And then all I have to do is, I always have to work out in my mind how it's going to work. Where the people are going to go in the picture, where the captions are going to work, where they're going to go, and what's going to be, what's the way to make the joke as funny as possible. To make it as effective as possible. And so that's a kind of fairly instant idea. And then there are other times when I know I need to come up with some new ideas for a book or something, and when I have to sit down and kind of rack my brains a little bit and try and come up with some ideas. But I usually manage to do that.
Okay. So, are you going to be doing any merchandising for Off the Leash? Are we going to see some T-shirts in the shops over here?
I hope so. As I say, we've already got greetings cards in a lot of shops here in the UK. And what else have we got? Prints. I do really nice prints that are in quite a few shops. And you can actually get, if you go onto my website, there's a company called Cafe Press, and you can actually order quite a lot of merchandise through Cafe Press, and they are based in the States. And so you can order stuff online from Cafe Press and have it mailed to you. And I'm hoping, because I've got such a huge audience in the States, I'm hoping that in time I will get more licensing deals.
You think you might come over here sometime and meet some of us?
I would love to. I would love to. I do a lot of dog shows here in the UK, which I really enjoy because, I meet people. I get masses of people turning up wanting me to sign books and things and meet me and all that, which is really, really nice. And very often they've got their dogs with them. And that's a lot of fun, and I would love to do that in the States.
You guys have a lot more dog-friendly businesses than we do right now. And
Yeah.
I'm hoping that will change over here, but we would love to have you come over and do some book signings. I'd love to meet you myself.
I would love to do that.
I thank you so much for taking the time, and apologize for the technical issues that we had. And I hope you have a great afternoon.
Thank you, Dawn. Really nice to meet you. Thank
It was
you.
nice meeting you. Bye.
Bye-bye.